Hello everyone and welcome to kind of an emergency stream actually. Um so today I actually wanted to return to hashtag Painless 2025 and update it to something like Painless is not leaving me alone, but Painless actually became painfully real this today. There was a mishap at the dumpster and I fucking ripped my nail, the other one this time, and it ripped really badly. It bled, it's painful, and I can't push a stick really without it hurting right now. So I'm not playing a game where I have to push a stick. I will play a game where I can just lay my thumb to rest and do fuck all. That is my plan, at least. So I hope you're enjoying. We can just talk, enjoy. I have a bunch of stuff about 2026, personal plans, personal efforts. You know the drill. You know, it's a new year. It's new things to talk about. So, and the fact that everything already has gone to shit. We are 3 years, not 72 hours into this year, and already, bam, bullshit. Cool. I really wanted to goddamn deal with an invasion. It's just kind of wonderful in an ironic sense. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I mean, we all should not have been surprised that it happens. That, Oh, okay. Oh, ah! Asshole. Please! What the fuck? I see the ladder that's being used, but also, like, cool thing. Just pull the ladder behind me. Thank you. Hello, Monk. Welcome to the 2023 is, or 2026 is already 2023. Yeah, I want to live in the past. I feel already depressing. There we go. Because of spread support. Oh, nice. The weekly is, let me just check again. This is this week. No, that works. But yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone is surprised that an invasion is happening. It's just you know, you just wake up one morning and you're like, yeah, I guess this is happening now. It's so stupid. You know, on some level, I genuinely think I should maybe actually whip out my PS3, somehow set it up on my, you know, make space on my desk, and just set it up, because I do think it is relevant to maybe stream some games again that are more appropriate of the just like this is a gaming channel and like, you know, we talk a lot about politics and such, but I think it definitely needs to be shown that there is more, there is also a lot of stuff where people, I think, miss the point. Sometimes you've seen very shit takes about the invasion of Venezuela, and it's like, I'm sorry. You're not, it's still unjustified, like, come on. I didn't fucking... I mean, I didn't fucking pick politics to learn, just to now be basically confronted with very, very bad takes about how, you know, how all of this has to function, because apparently it's just...
Hostile forces are still ahead in the fight. Let's regroup.
Yeah, you know, it's if it's someone the current leader of the USA doesn't like, well, then it's apparently just fine to invade, no matter what. And I think the dumbest thing is that it's just not even manufactured. There's no manufactured consent anymore. Like, ever thought about that? It's just, yeah, no, this is happening now, and you're like, oh, okay. It's just an invasion now, I guess. You know what, I should switch to a better weapon now. I just kind of try to get all of them to 20, and it's painful. Like, I'm sorry. The very simple fact should be that, you know, and this is one of the first things I learned, you know, taking a politics class, is that sovereignty should just not be touched. Period. And this kind of goes for nearly every country. It's not really, nice in a lot of cases, but like, I mean, the moments where you could justify invading a country, because invasions are invasions. It's just on what reason do you do it? Are very, very small. And it's never going to end that well for everyone. Like, if we talk about, quote-unquote justified invasions. First of all, none of them are proactive, okay? They're always reactive. And even then, we can talk about so much, because there is no real justified invasion if you're the fucking aggressor. Period. There isn't. It's almost baffling that this maybe even needs to be said, because, yeah. But oh, country X is bad. Yes. But do you really think it will be better if a military invades, destroys infrastructure, disposes of any governmental system, and then just is like, maybe we can just insert everyone who we like now? Never went well for South America, especially, yeah. I'm just a bit in awe about this, because it's generally just, I truly hope no one believes the whole there are so many drugs coming in from Venezuela, a country mainly making money with oil, that any invasion is justified. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And like, I'm just going to say two things can be real at the same time. Like, yes, Maduro can be a dictator, and that's bad. And also, do you really think the USA will do better after Maduro? Do you really think this is going to be the case, especially with Trump? No, it's still unjustified. Even if this actually leads to fair and democratic elections, even if this actually becomes, on some miracle, the best possible outcome for Venezuelan citizens, it would still be unjustified. Period. Because actions like these destabilize countries. Period. Permanently. It's going to be a miracle if Venezuela recovers from it. Because, look, we're now looking basically at the reality that people in Venezuela, now there might be a dictator, another right-wing dictator. And it's gonna be bad. Like, just straight up bad. Like, they're gonna sell off the oil again, poverty will rise again, everything's going to be bad again, it's gonna be probably pressure. Because, Venezuela and a lot of other South American countries, they still have, the right-wing dictatorships that have been implemented by the USA in their memory. That was recent for them. Like, Allende wasn't, like, 100 years ago. It was still, like, I think 50? A lot of people still know what happened in Chile, what happened in Peru. They still remember that. Like,
Objective Charlie has been lost.
Hostiles now. More objectives. Out.
that's actually a pretty good old interview with Hugo Chavez, like the previous president of Venezuela, which, by the way, was fairly elected. Just keep that in mind. And he was asked if he was paranoid about the USA, and he's just like, I'm not fucking paranoid. But he knew all the, he knew all the politicians who were killed and disposed and replaced by US interventionism in South America in his lifetime. Because, they did agrarian reforms. They, put, took the oil back into state hand. Stuff like that. But it's just very obvious to know what the dynamics are at play here. Like, I know a lot of people keep saying, how's it called? No Western country is currently invading North Korea because they have nukes. And I'm like, you know what? I think no one is invading North Korea, not because they have nukes, just because there is no oil in North Korea. Like, I don't know what is actually in the ground in North Korea, but I can tell you, they better not tell anyone.
Enemies are attacking Objective Bravo.
Be advised. Large objective under threat. Let's defend the position. Be advised. The enemy is still winning the fight. Get back and take control.
Be advised, we've lost Objective Bravo.
I should probably change up how that gun is set up. Uh,
Contact! Enemy vehicle located!
yeah. It's just like, yeah, state sovereignty is like a big thing you kind of like quite literally learn in school if you take that class. And you will have the big philosophical debate of like, should you actually do something about a country that just is ruled by a dictator? And the answer to that is no. As weird as that sounds, because it's like, what can I say? To a degree, it's just like you should just honor that. Because, like, as long as we live in a world where states exist, and those will exist, in my opinion, for a while, because I do think there are some natural borders between groups of people. It is just the bare minimum to say, we do not do shit unless you do shit. Like the absolute bare fucking minimum, you know? Like, I don't think this is just normal.
Objective Echo is now under our control. Attack support needed on the marked objective.
I do think it is actually very important to, I think, on a very core level, to understand what this passivity actually means. Because this isn't about, not doing anything. This is about, and I mean crucially, not inflicting more harm. Because, as I said, things like regime changes are highly disastrous for any country. Like, they are so incredibly disastrous. They, like, there is a direct correlation between regime changes and future regime changes. Like, okay, this is just the simple nature of it, but one of the reasons democracies, especially in the West, are so stable is the inherent, is to a degree, an inherent trust in the split of power. There are problems to that on a lot of cases. I know that, but we're not talking about that. The thing is, to a degree, everyone living in those countries basically kind of agrees that politicians and the right to rule, quote unquote, or the at least the right to pass legislation comes from the approval of the citizens. And that is crucial because this also means, by the way, that the means of enforcing that, in theory, okay, like the police, military, etc., are also beholden to the citizens. And the law, by that means. This is incredibly crucial to understand. Because you think this is normal. And I think to a lot of people, yeah, this is to a degree normal. We need to keep in mind, the moment you do a regime change, anyone who comes afterwards does not have that. Period. They can't. Like, there will be an inherent even if Venezuela now has open and fair elections, do you really think people actually will trust in that en masse? Because again, a big part of the Venezuelan people have problems. They hate Maduro. They hate what he does. That is a big important thing to understand. But also, they still distrust the USA on a very, very core level. So anyone after that cannot rule by, approval of the citizens. Because the thing is, that is another crucial fact. Elections are kind of fake. And this doesn't mean in the whole, they're bullshit and you shouldn't trust in them. But on a fundamental level, elections hold no power. Elections are to a degree a process to decide whose turn is it now. But also crucially, those people who get elected by that do not have a blank check to do what they want. They still, in theory at least, the public can revoke that right. And this is what you, for example, saw in Nepal. You saw, for example, to a degree in Madagascar, because people went, basically went and were down with the government. This is, in a way, part of the democratic process. No matter how it looks like, this is democracy in action. Because, again, if the majority of people decide they do not want the government anymore, and the government, isn't doing the thing of yep, you know what, we're dissolving this on our own and, doing elections, etc., on their own, the only thing that is left is dispose them on your own. This is, by the way, this is a crucial thing, because if this comes from the government, from the people, the following government will be inherently a lot more stable. This is also why, if you look at the history of countries and revolutions, nearly no right-winger was ever safe without insane oppressions. Meanwhile, those that cling to power, that came into power through one of those overthrows, usually are more safe than the other ones. And this is basically because of this one simple difference. Because if you do not have the approval of the people, and again, no election can be whoever would, if there are now elections in Venezuela afterwards, the person winning can wave it all election results around as they might. That thing does not guarantee that the people in the country are actually behind them. Or will be. Maybe they are for the first year, and then they are not. Because, an election is not a binding thing for the people that voted. I mean, you could say, hey, maybe you could have taken the political process more serious. You could have maybe done more, maybe involved yourself before shit happened. I'm looking at you, USA. A bunch of you definitely didn't think about what you were doing with that last election. But another crucial thing here is, this doesn't give Trump basically a blank check. He acts like that, and right now he basically gets a pass because no one is doing things. But how long does this keep place? Because that is actually a very, very big thing to keep in mind. Everyone in the USA has the right to revoke the power of the president. That is, by the way,
We need you supporting the
This is kind of baffling that I need to say that. You have the right to do that. And by the way, maybe remove the just the presidency while doing that. Like maybe keep it a thing, you know, like chancellor here in Germany or so, but like make it parliamentary. You know, you would be so much better off actually with a parliamentary republic. Keep in mind, the presidential thing was still just a compromise between the factions of the founding fathers who wanted, you know, a full democracy, and those that rather wanted to have more a thing like a monarchy, but not really. So yeah, just saying, while you're at it, you have the right to do that. So if you ever decide to you know, do the democratic thing in Washington DC, it's an option. Anyway, point is, elections are not binding to the people. And if you overthrow someone, no election will actually give legality. I mean, that's the thing that will probably be shown to the outside. And this is also why, you know, depending on when it happens, any election just might have problems. Like, yeah, no election will be, in that regard, be actually a safe bet. You know, whoever wins, actually. Because, let's just be real here. If there was actually a totally fair election in Venezuela, do you really think they wouldn't just start this shit all over again if, like, an actual leftist candidate wins and doesn't want to give back the oil to the companies? No, obviously not. Like, even if, you know, Trump is actually believing the whole, how's it called? Bullshit? Oh, wait, who did, even if he's believing the whole bullshit about the drugs being smuggled, etc., this doesn't change the fact that a bunch of people are just in it because, well, there's oil to be made, to be gained, so let's get some oil. But yeah, it will not be a stable thing. Regime changes are inherently bad. If you want to have a stable future for Venezuela, this would generally have come from inside, not from outside. Period. That's just a fact. And hey, I cannot actually talk about how this will continue because, frankly, I'm currently sitting here, I'm streaming. I have genuinely no clue what the next move will be.
Hostiles are attacking objective Charlie.
Let's move! Thank you so much!
Yeah. Long story short, regime changes, very bad. Don't do them. It's just, you know, if you're actually interested in any stability of a country, don't do regime changes. And fuck. Any change has to, like, I know there are, for example, there are jokes about, for example, people saying, hey, please, can Europe just invade Turf Island and rid us of the Labour and Tories, and like, I get you. I get your sentiment, but also like, even Britain would be destabilized as fuck if that happened. So no, no one should do this actually. It's meta again. And okay, another thing. And the next thing why I say this one is going to be horrible and bad for the future is just the fact that no one even talks about the logistics of, you know, a regime change. Like, let's just be very clear here, okay? There have been instances in the past where countries from outside actually did a regime change in a country as a reaction, not as an as an aggressor, and that's, you know, again, that's by the way usually a justified thing because at least during that it's, you know, you usually being attacked or being drawn into something, and you know, I don't think anyone would be should be weird about the fact that, you know, Nazi Germany invaded like half of fucking Europe and then be like, well, but the USA invaded them, so that's and did the regime change. That's bad. No, like, I'm sorry, the Nazi regime wouldn't have gone away, and they would have attacked more and more people if they weren't stopped. It would have happened any other. So the thing is just, toppling a regime is, you know, bad on a political level, but also, very crucially, you can't just leave. Like, I'm very serious here, by the way. The whole stabilizing a country after a regime change is even more work. Like, imagine what would happen if there was a country where basically the political regime changed after they, you know, maybe to a degree on their own volition, but, you know, after a war, and you just were like, well, fuck you. Here are some things you now have to do, and we leave you on your own. Figure it out yourself. Actually, you don't even need to think about that. That happened. It's basically the end of World War One. Like, the fact that, you know, the fact that Germany was basically left alone was the reason why the fascist sentiments were even able to rise that much. Even though they were, you know, wrong and bad, you know, they always cling to grievances and anxieties, and they're wrong, they're bad. But this still is the fact that extremists will always take care of situations where when the political power is unstable and when the economic situation is bad. And I mean, also kind of happened in Afghanistan. Like, actually also a good example. Yeah, a lot of people actually hated the Taliban. But also, like, who was responsible that they even existed in the first place? And afterwards, how much was really done other than, you know, put troops on the ground? Like, I think Afghanistan is just a perfect example of, yeah, we're looking at the problem of this country isn't stable, but also we will do fuck all that it can actually be stable without troops being present. Because once again, why were they invaded? And here's a banger thing you probably were like, you didn't know, but like I think the third largest amount of rare earths is beneath, you guessed it, Afghanistan. Kind of amazing how we just invaded that one country that had like a lot of rare earths. You know, that China didn't have. And you know what? It didn't even amount to that. Because they weren't even able to build up an industry there. Which is insane to me. Because, as stupid as it sounds, job security and wealth are the two things that actually make a country stable. Period. That's just a matter of fact. The reason why, you know, Germany basically became stable after World War II was the fact that there were immense amounts of money being poured into the country to rebuild.
Attack support needed on the marked objective.
And
Be advised, mission's close to failure.
yeah. Enormous amounts of money were put into the country. It stabilized, had an economic boom. And they got, like, it's, again, nothing is perfect. I know this is easy to just be like, oh, wait, this is not perfect. Yeah, sure. Congratulations, you observed something. The reality is, though, it is a stable country. And there are so many countries out there that have just been left unstable, without help. And, I'm sorry, I was stupid, and I just scratched the hurting part of my finger over my chair. So you know what? It doesn't even hurt that much. It's just irritating as yeah. That is the thing, you know? If you genuinely want to have a country stable, if you want that a country is stable, you need to pour so much money into it. It's just a fact, actually. And yeah, despite everything, they could have stabilized Afghanistan. They could have stabilized a lot of countries if they wanted to, but they didn't. So yeah, why does anyone think this would happen now with Venezuela? Right now, it's gonna be a regime change. It's gonna be a unstable government with no real backup. A bunch of people will be like, well, might as well just put a person in charge we like more, and then those probably need to use, you know, military, and military and police power to keep things stable. And the next one, usually from the military or police, is like, wait, I'm actually keeping things stable anyway, so I have the power. Why do I need to listen to you? And either this results in them being like, well, I have the connections to the oil industry and I can give you money. You know, again, if you have a regime. Another fun fact, you want to run a country that's unstable. Yeah, you're kind of being forced into dictatorship. And dictatorship, like, that's just a thing you need to do at that point. This isn't even to say, you know, oh, do people want to do that? I think this is just, no, you want to keep power, and, you know, your only real power is to keep it through, the military, through military or police. Well, now your whole thing is basically keep those people happy. That's generally what it is. Yeah, bad move. It's illegal, it's bullshit. I do hope people in the USA will finally wake up that elections are really not binding to anyone. If you want the president gone, you can dispose of him. Just, yeah. Yeah. Here we are talking the very fun talk again on this channel. Do people enjoy that? Political analysis from like the absolutely dry perspective of, well, this sucks, but also, yay. Let's get into the philosophical territory of, well, this sucks even more. Because, yeah, you just did Noopsie. You did... It's an invaded country, it's just a factually destabilized country, and, and you know what? If those claims by opposition members are true, that, you know, Maduro actually had to deal with Trump and already put assets into, you know, Saudi Arabia and will probably get just off the moment he sells out the oil, that's gonna be worse. Just saying. Like, that's gonna be a hell of a lot worse. Because at that point, do you really think there's going to be any chance of that country recovering on the, like, just on the trust level? Because, okay, so here's the thing. I don't think anyone is actually thinking enough about trust in their lives. Which is probably a weird thing to say, but hear me out. The thing about trust is, everyone says, oh, you can, you know, you can gain it slowly, and you can lose it really fast. This actually goes also in the abstract term, because large groups of humans have kind of a mind of their own. And let me just put it like this. The mind of the group is a person with very, very, very big trust issues. Just period. It can be lost so fast over sometimes wrong... Like, that's the thing. It's lost faster and regained even harder, simply due to the fact that we're just looking at a collective that is just primed to believe to believe a lot of things. And listen, if you live through the fact that you know, president sold out your country and got away with it, you're fucking done with it. Like, I mean that not on a you know, oh, this guy can go tell, because he can, but I mean on a very physical, you know, on a very real, what does democracy even matter level. And that's worse. And like, that's why extremists rose to power, because I know, for example, another good example that currently has been brought up when we talk about countries that, you know, are just straight up bad places and evil, etc. And then there's always the thing where people, especially what I know in, you know, in leftist Western circles, it's just the thing about Iran. Because let me put it like this. Everyone will say that Iran is bad, and everyone will, you know, also agree that invading Iran is bad. But also, and this is where it gets interesting, there's always a confusion of how did this even happen?
Objective Charlie's under hostile attack.
And again, at this point, we need to talk about group psychology. Because a group can develop trust issues really, really fast. And this is, by the way, why the whole fascist slash strongman approach is, appeal is so big. Because if people do not fundamentally believe in the integrity of democracy, they want to. That is very, very crucial to keep here. People want to believe that when they elect someone, they actually do shit. That's, by the way, how we got Trump. A lot of people just wanted someone to do shit. Again, he's bad, horrible, and should not have been elected. But that's how we got it. That's how nearly every fucking dictator rises to power. That's, by the way, also how leftists can rise to power, which is usually infinitely better because they have just generally a better track record of handing over power. But it's a different topic, you know? Like, keep in mind, the reason Mamdani and Trump won are the same. Not that they, not that they are the same people or have the same ideology. No. The thing is, people want to believe in democracy. And people want to actually support someone who stands for something. And with Trump, this was to the degree with he just had enough, I just say aura that people were like, he might do something. And also, let's just be real here. Kamala Harris's campaign was just fucking neutered. Like, completely. It was dead. In the beginning, they had steam. And the reason why this was working was crucially, people were thinking, well, maybe something will happen this time. And then they basically went into wet fart mode. And we're like, look, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to have any kind of spine. We're going to get an endorsement from the wasn't it the wife of Dick Cheney? It's like, wow. It's just it was just everything destroyed in an instant. Meanwhile, Mamdani actually sat down and was like, these are my plans, this is what I will do. And then when people were like, are you going to do it? He was like, yeah. He just had the aura again that he convinced that he actually made people believe in the fact that he's going to. And again, he's doing shit right now. Oh, who would have guessed? Damn. And this is why, again, extremist dictators rise to power, because if you destroy someone, a country's population's, not just like believing in the power to believe in democracy, it's gone. And regime changes are like the best thing to do that. And again, we talked about Iran, because here's the thing. Iran had a democratically elected president that, wanted to put the oil back in state hands, wanted to democratize and rebuild the country, and was elected and was just, a little bit left-leaning. Not a leftist, he was left-leaning. So he was couped. And I feel like everyone is nowadays remembering, the big bads, like you know, we know about Chile. We know what happened in South America, but I do think enough people need to drill the history of Iran into their goddamn minds. Like, that should be leftist, you know, this should like be leftist literature 101, because it is the perfect example of how everything can fail and how especially leftist movements fail to see how bad things get. Because basically, in South America, this is the thing. South America is a feel-good story, you know? Because as much as okay, this is, by the way, very cynically said. I know that. Because if I say feel-good story, this means, you know, oh, you know, the leftists got a coup, they put in a right-wing dictator, and that one also, you know, got disposed of by the people at some point. Might not be perfect right now, but it's a lot better. That is what I mean with feel-good story, because everyone is basically... There's still a form of democracy going on. Iran didn't have that luxury. Iran got the Shah. And let me be clear here. Every dictator is bad. The Shah was particularly bad. He was horrible. Okay? Like... And the thing is, the reason why Iran nowadays looks like it looks is because they had no one. Like, if you wonder how Ayatollah Khomeini got into power, it's because literally everyone in Iran was so fucking desperate to get rid of the Shah, they banded behind an extremist religious leader. That's what happened, by the way. Like, that's also why they are still pretty stable. Because despite the whole sentiment shifting and everything, which is, you know, very understandable actually, you know, no one wants that forever. It's just... Imagine being so desperate you band behind behind a religious extremist. Like... It's just... You know? And that's the thing why I will say everyone always overlooks Iran. Because Iran is... Again, it's the logical outcome of regime changes. It can just be that. It can generally just be... The government is overthrown, is replaced by a brutal, oppressive dictatorship, and what comes afterwards is worse. And that's always a possibility. But, yeah. I think I kind of said everything about it. Just, it's bad. Just, whatever comes now, it's bad. Like, if this is a false regime change, that's bad. If it's, like, legit, if that whole, he made a deal, it's worse. I don't know. Because... listen, usually I sit here and I'm just saying like, hey, this is how we could fix it. This is how this could be improved, etc., etc., etc. But like, how do you do that in this situation? Ever thought about that? I wish I could tell you a solution. But I can't. I genuinely can't. I wish I could, but this is just depressing shit. It's just the fact that whatever the outcomes are, the best solution right now would be just turn back the clock, actually. I know that can't be done, so I don't know, scream into the void?
The enemy are attacking objective Echo.
Take the objective! Keep moving!
Hostiles have secured objective Charlie.
We have secured Charlie.
Move to attack the marked objective.
Still on target. Good work. We have lost objective Delta.
Attention, we are attempting to capture Delta.
Hostiles are attacking Alpha.
Oh, this is kind of funny. Now I just need to need someone to do damage. Come on, can't be that hard.
We need to defend and hold that position. Defend that point. Get moving.
Objective marked. Support the attack.
Secured an advantage. Keep it going.
Attention. Hostile forces are attacking Charlie.
Huh.
Objective Alpha has been neutralized.
Oh wait, I can.
We have lost objective.
Interesting to know. Oh wait, almost done. Nice.
Objective Alpha is under control. We are in a strong position. Take control and secure the fight.
Bravo. Hostile now hold more objectives.
Take what you can carry.
So let's get some other topics in other than the political depression tour that is the 3rd of January of 2026 because
We are targeting objective Bravo.
I see they haven't fixed that area of the map. Yeah, haven't fixed it yet. Oh well. Interesting how this one is actually getting kind of close, but yeah, I don't think they will be able to get the final ones in. 24. 24 kills should not be that hard. Oh, the tickets are also ticking down, so...
More objectives.
Okay, slowly I feel like my team is just, are you whiffing this on purpose? Okay, come on. Can't be that hard. Yeah, see, come on. Let's just get the final win in.
We now control our objectives. Defend all positions.
Ooh. There we go. They really made it close. I'm almost done with that, actually. Honestly, I kind of wish the proximity detector wasn't a grenade again. That was such a dumb idea in 2042 as well.
All units, mission objectives are confirmed. Capture and resist all hostile attacks. Let's go!
We need attack support on the marked objective.
Charlie is under enemy control.
Probably track that one. I see it. Perfect.
Attention! Hostiles have secured objective Charlie. Objective Delta has been neutralized.
Yeah. You know, I kind of always hope that 2026 might actually go better than 2025, but I generally do not want to be too negative in that regard. Things... It's just, you know, very hard to not be depressed these days. So, and it's also kind of a bit annoying that, you know, I can't actually go and do Neo 2 today. I really looked forward to that, but yeah. Even now, just having a little bit of pressure on my thumb hurt. It's a really interesting thing, you know, because we always talk about stuff like, oh, what are nails even there for? And the answer is to grab things. It's just the moment our nails are not the perfect length to do that, they start hurting a lot. And pro tip, kids, actually keep your nails trimmed, or, you know, in a way that they don't easily rip. It is very useful if your nails don't get too short, because then it's like you don't want to have your flesh press up against your nail in a place where it shouldn't do that. Just very unpleasant is all I'm saying.
I knew you had my back.
Hold more objectives.
So,
We need to defend the marked objective.
let's actually... let's get the damage on that thing. So, I have already painted it, but let's go after it anyway. That didn't count. Damn it. So, there we go. Damn sniper. Well. Okay. Should have been so focused on that.
We need attack support on the marked objective. Objective Charlie is under hostile attack.
You know, that's one of the reasons I say they really need to make it so that there are less engineers running around. Because right now, a lot of them just use their rockets as basically makeshift grenade launchers, and I get it. The grenade launchers are not really that effective, but also... Ooh, nice. But okay.
Our troops have neutralized Alpha.
I'm really starting to hate this guy.
Mark objective.
Let's... Damn, there I was distracted.
Enemy attack is underway on Bravo. We now control more objectives. Defend all positions.
Oh.
The enemy have maintained control.
No one actually wanted to attack the painted tanks. It's kind of funny how some of the assignments really are just like a bit luck-based, and it's just blah. Oh yeah, get damage on laser tanks. Not a big problem, you think? Until no one fires a rocket at the tank.
Objective Charlie neutralized.
Anyway, I'm actually very interested in how this game, like, it's basically 2 weeks until season 2, so I'm very interested how that will work out. Oop.
Secured more objectives.
Not planted. At least something. We need those dot counters up anyway. Oh yeah, big snow came today. And you know what? Once again, I've been confirmed no one can drive anymore when there's snow. Like there was a huge blockade on like a cross to point intersection because just people just fucking ran into each other. And it's like, how can you not drive? It's just snow. Like, yeah, drive slowly.
Thanks.
Do it.
Thank you.
Fine, it's safer. Okay, in general, maybe don't drive fast all the time, but I think, you know, there's a difference between there's a difference between driving a car slowly and driving a car cowardly. Because if I can see that nearly everyone on the street has lost their confidence in driving, then maybe do not drive cars. Especially when I see someone with a fucking SUV roll at below 30 kilometers per hour over the street. I'm just going to say, no, you know what? You should go to the officials and just give back your driver's license. Period. You bought an SUV. If you do not drive confidently in the snow with an SUV, stop driving. Like, I'm sorry, SUVs are to a degree. Even the shiny ones can go off-road and can go on snow. Anyway, we should not sell SUVs, but the thing is, again, if you drive one and you're driving that cowardly, don't drive. I do think most people should not drive anyway, but that's a different topic. And this isn't even about the point of, you know, oh, can or cannot people, like, listen, if you live in with the situation that you cannot, under any circumstances, not drive, okay, happens. It can just happen. I'm fully aware of that. Then please drive well. Just for the love of everyone, drive well. Like, I'm from Germany. We have a pretty tough driving school here. Like, you need to do, you know, theoretical exams, then you can take physical lessons, and so on and so forth. It's not easy to get your license. But it is embarrassing how many apparently still get it, even though they can't drive. Oh, shit. Like, there's a difference, for example, between me recently driving down the, you know, driving a full truck, down windy roads and just, you know, driving like 10 kilometers per hour slower, simply because, you know, controlling the inertia is just hard, and I don't want to be a fucking problem. Also, it was at night and it wasn't full, etc. All of that. So yeah, but you know, if you're in the city and it's flat and it's just snowing and you're just like, maybe I crawl now, and even then, someone crawled and still fucking slid with their car, which is like, did you not put your goddamn winter wheels on your car? They exist for reasons. Apparently people don't do that. which is baffling to me because, like, yeah, I get it. A lot of times our winters are just rainy nowadays, okay? It's normal. You should still do it because there will be days where it's just cold, slippery, or maybe snowing.
Keep the momentum. Hostile advantage is weakening. We are attempting to capture Delta.
You know what? And then sometimes you have news stories where you just think everything sucks in this world. Because since America is now a country basically run on gambling, apparently, like one of those big gambling websites yesterday had like generally random account being made yesterday just puts all their money into oh yeah, I'm it just keeps going.
We have secured objective Alpha.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Basically put all their money onto bets that Maduro is gone in the next 24 hours and wins millions. It's just like, obviously you can just, you know, use insider knowledge to fucking make money off of gambling websites as well. Why not? Why not, actually? Like, I think the current political climate, especially in USA, can be summed up with that one image. Remember that picture was of someone's phone where it was like, "Do you want to allow Peggle to manage messages and phone calls?" And they were just like, "Sure, let's just let Peggle manage phone calls and messages. Who even cares anymore?" And to a degree, it just feels like the political climate right now. Just a lot of bullshit.
We have lost control of Charlie. We are targeting objective Delta. The enemy has secured more objectives. Let's strike back. Be advised, Bravo has been lost. Attack support is needed on the right objective.
Okay.
Contact! Enemy infantry engaging!
47. It's going up. You know, I think weapons go up to 50 or something like that, so...
Attention, we have lost control of Delta. Objective Bravo has been secured.
Knew you had my back!
Well, you know, going through the snow later today, that's probably gonna be very enjoyable. I am actually looking forward to that.
Objectives have been marked. Secure and hold those positions. Hostiles are inbound. Hostiles have secured objective Charlie. We're targeting Charlie.
Attention, the enemy are attacking objective Alpha.
Not a bad place, actually. Oops, now I know about it, so... Nope, don't go there.
Experienced an early setback. Refocus and counter. Neutralized objective Bravo. We need defensive support to the mark objective.
You know what? I I do wonder actually now, because I have not actually looked up what the reactions to from most countries were. I think the EU was more like, that's bad. But like, you know why? And we have not looked up the reaction to the invasion of Venezuela. It's just, I mean, you know what? The British one was going to suck horrendously. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. And this is usually a thing every time I bring up British politics on this channel. Some of our British viewers will be like, oh yeah, you're completely on the money. Also, it's worse. Because, like, I think Keir Starmer is probably gonna deliver, you know, something that's just incredibly bad. So incredibly bad and, you know, tone deaf that it will even rewrite, it will even put, like, everything in America to shame. Just, like, it's gonna be that level of crap, if you understand what I mean. Also, I do think the British political class, let's just say ruling class, let's just be real here. I think if there is one country in Europe, or especially in Anglosphere, the West, where there is such a heavy distinction between politicians and everyone else, is Britain. They really do not realize in the slightest what people actually want, and they don't want to. I think I think the weird thing about Britain right now is, see, basically every other country is falling back into fascism, you know? Well, not every other country, like, there is a push for fascism in a lot of countries, especially US and, so, the thing is just, fascism is to a degree still a movement that is, let's just put it like this. It is still to a degree bolstered by a part of the population. It, you know, it usually is not really there. Like, it's not a lot, and it's getting artificially held up by the media, etc. Like, that is true, you know? But usually, some part, somewhere of the population is behind fascistic ideas. Like, for example, I can say, yeah, if you look at European countries, USA, or etc., like, Trump isn't, like, on his own there. There are enough people, especially in the south of the USA, that just stand behind them. If you go for, if you look to, like, East Germany, especially Saxony, there are enough people that actually are like, yeah, no, we like the AfD. Fuck them, but they still exist to a degree. They're not by far a majority or anything, but they exist.
We now hold more objectives. Secure our defenses. We are engaging.
And I've genuinely been trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in Britain for a while, until today, Agonia actually put on a video about British history, and it just kind of clicked for me in my mind. Because, like, here's the thing. Fascism to a degree is, it's a power grab of especially capitalistic elements in a country. Like, it is inherently a reaction towards socialist ideas. It is also, usually homophobic, anti-Semitic, racist, etc., etc. You name it. But it doesn't need to. Like, I mean, famously, Mussolini boasted with, he is not anti-Semitic. To basically tell everyone, hey, look, I'm not a weird fascist. I am the nice fascist that doesn't hate Jews. So, But what Labour and just generally the British ruling class is doing is just not even that. Like, the fascists are not even in power. Quote unquote. Like, let's just be real here. Reform is the fascist movement in England. They're just not the ones like, they also have support. And they overlap in some areas, but they're not doing the thing that Labour and such is doing right now. Like, Labour is just completely tone deaf. Until you realize they just want to straight up go back to, pre-Victorian era politics. Like, I mean, that's the thing right now, isn't it? The current political climate in Britain is like, but not only political climate, I would say the current political ruling class is just virulently transphobic. It's also definitely homophobic and racist and a lot of things, but if they could, they would just go straight back to Tudor-era laws about how, not having a job is illegal. Because, like, I can't actually better put it in another way, but they just hate poor people. Like, I really wish I could just say anything else about about Britain and stuff, but no, they just straight up hate poor people. It's the whole political compass. It's like, you have this field laid out, and it's like, socially or, socially conservative, it's like conservative, progressive, and a social, or, what's it called again? Financial matter, and then just, everyone in the big parties in Britain is just like its own dot floating to the side, just be like, fuck poor people. If they could, they would write op-eds about how serfdom was actually really useful for the economy, and that we should totally bring it back because it would just boost, the moral standard of the country. I mean, I keep saying jokingly that, well, half jokingly actually, that the political compass of a lot of people is just they want to own people. And like, let's just be real here, that's the case for a lot. But also, I don't think anyone in the world wants to own people as in this distinctive way, as in, you know, return to serfdom, as the people in Britain. Like, okay, yeah, in the USA, you have to certain people that just don't want to say they actually just want to bring back slavery if they could. But like, it's fucking wild to think about. And there we have the miracle of the stream. Haven't done that in a while. But like, by the way, if you're wondering, how bad was it in Britain? So I think in 15 something, they just straight up had a law that was like, you know, if you're not working, the punishment is slavery. No, seriously, for like 2 years or so, they just had a law that was like, you not work, you do slavery. And like, what has changed actually since then? Sure, nowadays it's also just hating trans people on top of that, but like,
Objective Bravo has been secured.
genuinely, what changed? Like, it's kind of impressive how Britain as a country just never changed in that regard. Like, not in the sense that they probably didn't want to change, because I would say around World War One, World War Two, and afterwards, until Margaret Thatcher, by the way. Oh, it's obviously Margaret Thatcher. They did. But like, at some point, I think it is just fair to say that the current political climate in England is not, you know, a reaction in the typical fascistic sense. It's just, like, it's just the closest we know of until, you know, you just sit down and be like, wait, this is just the shit the aristocrats have pulled, like, for centuries on that island. Again, it's just the whole, they hate poor people, and they would love to just make poor people go extinct. And there's nothing more to that. And then, like, you're like, oh, but why do they hate trans? Because trans people are poor. And then they dare to be happy. You know, that's the thing. Like, I do think I always will reject the whole point of, you know, every conservative is like secretly gay or trans or anything. It's bullshit. But I think you can definitely say that the backlash against trans people right now is to a degree, you know, they lost the fight on abortions and gay marriage and all of that. Like, it's just straight up pivoting after gay marriages was basically legal. It is also how the fuck can you not hate trans people when you're really hardcore conservative? Your life is miserable. Like, let me just be clear here, okay? I'm not saying all conservatives are miserable. Actually, those that are not miserable are usually some people we would probably not even trace as conservatives, because they fall out of that roster. But the thing is, most conservatives are miserable. Because conservatism, if you're not someone on the, winning end, and like that's the thing, conservatism is an LLM. MLM, that was LLM and MLM. It's kind of the same, It like even the fucking anagram. I like. Was it anagram? No, the shortenings are also just kind of the same. But yeah. Point is, it's an MLM. Because conservatism is inherently built up in a sense that someone is below you. That is a core part of conservative ideology. Someone is below you. And then when you are in that, and that is your reward basically, you can, be the boot for someone. And that sounds enticing until you realize it also just comes with a whole lot of just garbage. Like, let me just get to the point. Like, if you ever, there's a lot of guys out there who just break under the assumptions they think they have to perform, how they have to perform masculinity, because it just sucks. There's, not really a place to be vulnerable, because like when you're conservative, you can't even be vulnerable towards the person you love, because like I'm not, even if you marry someone you love, you can't actually just open up to them, because then whoops, you're not manly, you're not the man of the house anymore. You need to control everything, and there's no room for emotions in that part, and it sucks. And for women, yeah, you found a husband, and now you are basically charged with take care of the house, have children, at least 2, please. 3 is better, 4 would be ideal, but you will take care of them, not a guy. If you have sons at a certain age, the father will take them and show them how to lose a finger while sawing boards and making some woodworking. But that's a different kind of topic. Anyway, you are the sole responsible person to run this household. You will shoulder everything emotionally. Like, that's a crucial thing. Your husband will offload his emotional problems onto you. Just not in a healthy way, because that would be unmanly for him. So yeah, you have to deal with that, and then you have to alter that, and oh yeah, the economy sucks, so guess what? You also have to work at least part-time. And actually, now that we think about it, you know what? Smoking is bad, so you better not do that to relax. You need to be a good person. You need to be a paragon for your children. Also, Ritalin, also banned. Better not do that anymore. A cocaine, meth, yes, sorry, we also banned that. Marijuana is also mostly banned, but you won't do that because marijuana, that's the gay drug. You wouldn't do that what the liberals is taking to relax, won't you? Sorry, we just took everything away that you could use to relax from all of this stress, and we leave you fuck all. Now deal with it. And you know how fucking stressful that is? And then, but here's the thing. The big problem of the conservative brainworm is that you look at the structure and and to a degree, to cope with all of that crap, you have to convince yourself that, well, on some level, this is just how the world works. If we don't have this structure, everything would fall apart. And then just some girl you see outside, just starts taking estrogen and is happy. Dates another girl, and they're really happy. Wow, they have a relationship that is not bound by the thing you think should just be the norm, because it has to be, you committed to this. There has to be something for that. This can't all be a fraud, right? You didn't take on all this emotional labor and problems just to maybe be faced with the fact that it's bullshit? No, can't be. Other people have to be wrong. They are actually like destroying the system. That's the problem. And welcome to why conservatives hate trans people so much. And here's the thing. I genuinely would love to just say, yeah, we kind of had it, got pretty lucky that there was enough bullshit to just, well, the conservatives, were focused on gay marriage and such beforehand and didn't, focus on us, but also, it had to happen at some point. Because, yeah, conservatives are miserable, and they can't otherwise. Their whole point is that they would just love to not be miserable. But because their whole ideology is basically being miserable is just how you live. Like, what about how, especially in Protestant/evangelical churches, especially USA, there is this saying that, there's just this saying of, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's just like held up as a virtue, like with this idea of, misery builds character. But like, misery doesn't build character. Misery just makes you miserable. Because, you get told, no, you just need to have a little bit more misery, and then it will be fine. Just, you just need to have a bit more character building, and then all your problems will go away. But your problems never go away, because again, misery is just fucking misery. And nothing ticks you off more than some people deciding to just end the misery. Because... yeah.
Control.
And by the way, if you're thinking like, oh, but do they need to know that, trans people do it? No, not really. But like, enough new trans person to be envious, because let me put it like this. Transitioning doesn't fix all your problems overnight. It can't. What it does do, though, is it makes you not feel miserable anymore. And like, let me be clear here. You can see from the outside if someone is miserable as a person. That is actually pretty easily noticeable. Like, yeah, someone living in misery, you will notice. But you will especially notice if they stop being that. And I'd say probably a lot at this thing that they saw, you know, people that, you know, were also just going through misery that were trans. And, you know, again, oh wow, they just took estrogen and defied social norms and now they're not that miserable anymore. Again, it doesn't solve all your problems, but you know, the big difference is stuff like you can cry. And there's this very there's this thing that not crying is a trained behavior. Like, I can tell you there are probably a lot of conservatives out there who just don't cry, who are not emotional. Because they just numb their feelings. Because again, being conservative is miserable.
We have lost objective Bravo.
But holy shit, you will find so many stories of trans people online who just describe how they just could cry again and be emotional. And that is enough. Because again, a lot of transphobia is quite, you can quite literally boil down to, why are they allowed to be happy? That is quite literally it on a lot of it. And you'd think it's stupid, and it kind of is. Because the solution to transphobia is just stop being miserable. And, you know, also stop being a transphobe. Fucking hell. But you know, again, except with the British part, because I think the British part generally is just more concerned about the whole let's return to serfdom and lock in where everyone's place is in society. Because I don't know, I guess Britain just really wants to be an absolute monarchy again. I suppose. Yeah, they had a law that just was like, oh, you're homeless? Slavery.
Wasn't it no work?
Oh yeah, no work, slavery.
Yeah.
Hey, Agonia.
Hey, ho.
Fun fact, if you're wondering, okay, but if it just was like for 2 years, how did they follow this one up? Like, they scrapped it, but did they replace it with something? Yes, with a law that basically gave you indentured servitude. And then they shipped off hundreds of children to Virginia.
You good?
What?
You good?
I'm doing fine. Why are you asking? I'm just irritated by my thumb, really. Because the moment I do anything outside of, you know, it's it gets very, very irritating.
Yeah, your nail got kind of ripped there.
It's just very it's just so unpleasant, actually. And yeah, in the end, I just in the end, every time I just irritate it a little bit, it just becomes more and more irritated, and I hate that. It's just, I know, but I can't stop looking at it because it's irritating. And now I think about it, and it's getting more irritated. Yeah. Rip me, I'd say. But yeah, they just had like the whole indentured servitude thing of like, hey, some rich guy in the colonies could just buy your work for like 7 years and then you would get a bit of land. So this is why people actually went over there, because they were like, well, I just need to work for 7 years and I have land. And I mean, you gotta work to the bone, and let's just be real here, most of them probably died because this was definitely not something they did out of kindness. They were just like, wage labor. And then they had the... And then they shipped off children. Because it was just like, oh, there are so many children on the street. Let's just ship them off to Virginia. And there was a literal contract between London and the Virginia company to just deliver over 100 children. Britain. Again. What has changed?
They're not going to ship them to America anymore.
That's true. I think America would just be like, why are you shipping over 100 children here? And like, let me just put it like this. I do think, like, most of these children just show up in the records, you know, when they just get basically scooped up. And it's like, oh, children are just a little bit too long, too noisy on the street. Whoop, get them. And, like, I just realized, when I was young, my grandma, quote-unquote, joked about I should, you know, watch out for child catchers. And I was like, what's that child catcher? And they're like, oh yeah, they just scoop you up and sell you off. And I'm like, that doesn't exist. And then I learned about that. I'm like, oh fuck, they existed. Child catchers were a thing. Like, how many children were probably just sold off to the USA that had family in England? Just like literally mom and dad, like, you know, never saw that boy get home or girl. Just
I got you!
and yeah, I saw that video and I'm just like, you know what? That's actually the political compass of labor right now. They just want that back because that's the dumb thing to say. As much as, you know, like, reform sucks and they're bad and just should not never go into you know, win anything. But like, reform is much more, you know, modern day politics than whatever the fuck Labour is doing right now. Like, Labour at this point is just straight up die poor people. Oh well. Oh yeah, by the way, have you actually looked if there is a new chapter of our favorite gay story right now?
I checked it a few hours ago.
And there I was hoping.
I can look again, but I cannot doubt it.
No. There I was hoping at least some good news this day.
You could read protocols and
Oh yeah, well, I will do that later. No worries. I just was more like thinking about the fact that we should keep spreading the good word of Dragon Subjugation Incantation. And the fact that Wen Li is the most disastrous lesbian of them all. Again, I said this before in another stream, but like, I swear, it's okay. Here's kind of a there is kind of a bit going on in that story, because they play around with some of the, you know, tropes. Like, for example, protagonist is like from another world and there's a quote-unquote system in her head, but like, thing is,
system can't do shit.
It can't do shit. It just tells her some information and confirms some stuff, and it's like, it's much more restrained than what, you know, other stories do. But here's the thing. It has the fun part of the fact that, you know, she can see how the heroine, Run Li, is like actually having favorability to other people.
No, just to herself.
Just to herself, and I think to someone else still.
No.
Okay, yeah. how she stands, how her favorability is towards her. And let me... So, just so you know, she's the person who only wants to kill, and has an alter ego who only...
Person.
an alternate persona that only is madly in love with. So the thing is, but when she's in her, normal persona, quite literally what happens is that every time Rooney is just like, wow, my master's beautiful, she just gets points. And she's just like, wow. You are horribly,
Shallow.
Is she shallow?
To a degree.
To a degree, she is shallow, but she's also shallow for a beautiful woman. So, like, who are we to judge? Wouldn't we be the same?
Yeah, but she does a lot for her, and Rooney kinda knows. But that doesn't give favorability points. It's smiling in a beautiful scenery, a slight smile, 15 points, more than anything she ever earned,
and will earn for a long time. It's just like a slight smile. Girl, wow. We need to talk though. Like it is just very funny how due to that, we just know that the heroine's just a bit shallow, and it's just so hilarious because you know what? Girls can be a bit shallow about girls. It's fine. But also, it's just so funny because you keep looking at that and it's like, yep, those 15 points are still the highest she ever got until that point. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, like saving her from a stupid mistake. By defending her from a very strong ancient monster, while helping her circulate her chi at the same time, and
Basically,
being wounded in the process.
yeah, it's like
No, nothing.
Yeah, nothing. It's like, girl, she just saved your life, but smiling in the good, in the right ambient light, 15 points. You're like, okay, again, we need to talk. It's kind of shallow, actually. The book is, by the way, the translation of the book is in the Discord, in the new book channel.
Yay, book channel.
And if you read it, you better write that you wrote it and what you think about it, because it's a good book. Yeah, it is very hilarious that it happens. It's just, I hope it ends well. But I'm like, right now the problem is every single chapter ends off on a cliffhanger, and you're just like, I want to read more. I don't want the cliffhanger to cliffhang.
Well, if you learn Chinese in 1 year,
True.
then you could read it.
I just need to learn Chinese. I mean, I failed at it beforehand. Basically, it was Mandarin. So let's just be real. There's not the Chinese language. There's Mandarin. There's Cantonese. There's a lot of other Chinese languages.
I'm actually just aware of those two.
There are more than that, actually. But I don't... You could Google that. I just realized Zeb's description this, but it's suddenly winter question mark. Let's just be real here.
So the distributions of language families in China is what I found on Wikipedia. I don't know if that counts as languages directly.
I'd say...
Canada does.
Okay, you know what? Mongolian is actually... Yeah, that's...
Yeah,
It is.
Standard Mandarin, Cantonese, those I know. Portuguese, and in Macau, apparently. English in Hong Kong, Mongolian in Inner Mongolia, and Aichi, or however you pronounce it. I'm sorry, China. Jinghai in Beiyingong and Bortala in Xinjiang. Korean, Standard Tibetan, Uyghur, Zhuang,
Zhuang.
Kazakh.
You know, a lot of Korea is on the end of Uyghur.
Yi.
Kazakh, Yi. Sichuan. Yi.
And
Yi.
three silent, silent. So I guess how do you call it? The equivalent to the alphabet, basically. Chinese sign, Hong Kong sign, and Tibetan sign.
They're probably slightly different. It's interesting that Hong Kong has their own thing, but
I know that like how you write Mandarin and Cantonese is already slightly different.
which is and Cantonese is spoken in Hong Kong.
Even though they use, I think, mostly the same system for writing.
Yeah, it could be.
Attack order has been set by squad leader.
I mean, it would probably be Mandarin I need to learn, so.
Most likely.
Yeah! Rocket almost exploding near my head. No, don't shoot me from behind. I want to tank. You got shot by tank. Yeah, I'm sad about that.
Need to dodge it.
Dodge! What do you expect me to say when you say dodge?
Dodge!
Dodge! Mr. Piccolo, he's really nice. Dodge!
I'm glad I just woke up in time.
You wait, that we still have like 20 minutes to talk? So you basically swing in at the last moment to have a talk without a lot of, how's it called? Not problems, but you know.
Normally you're having, at least the last months had a problem, like, keeping the stream going.
That's true. I still had
How
the,
was it this time?
I had some down, phases where I just couldn't really talk that much.
It's fine still.
Yeah.
But was it better?
I'd say it was better. I feel at least more clear in the head. Weird. Ooh! Top squad! Look at that!
You have
That's me.
weapons with white parts.
Yes. I'm stylish. I have like camouflage over my head.
Oh, that was a mosquito net.
What?
Mosquito net.
It's actually something I think Danish. I think it was called frog something.
Is it like to obscure some detection techniques or something?
It's a more of a ghillie suit actually.
So,
Yeah, because it's also used by divers especially. So like they generally just swim near the because that basically makes it so like, you know, ghillie suits are effective, but
the mask would conceal your face more, or the shape of your head.
let me put it like this. The thing about the thing about recons or infiltration units is that and I mean that style from the special forces basically got very popular in recent years because, you know, it kind of looks cool, but actually, if you look at the military and the normal ground army, actually has. Let me just look it up if it actually is in the game. No, I want to. Okay, basically, it's just more like you have like this face. You have like the baklava from the Russians over your face with a cap on, or just something that just covers half of your face, because that is usually enough for a scout troop. Because you kind of want to muffle your voice.
Yeah, you still.
Yeah, the thing is, the frog suit is ghillie suits are expensive. They make noise to a degree because if you move, and also the downside of just having a net with a little bit of things in it is minimal. Like if you have a net over your face and just obscure your general
Shape.
that already is enough in a lot of areas. With from forest to urban to just not be spotted immediately. But the upside is actually with the net you can actually cover your whole face, while ghillie suits have to leave it open, and other ones. So you can actually wear, like, for example, diving glasses behind it and still see through it to a degree. And crucially, they make less noise. You can manufacture them easier. They're better to wear, etc., etc. That's why they're used. So yeah. And I mean, technically, from those nets you build ghillie suits, because technically a ghillie suit is just a net that you pack shit on. Yeah, and I would say, especially in multiplayer games, I think this style has actually catched on a lot because
Makes more sense if you don't intend to have your players stealth, actually.
yeah, like I do think it's the whole Recons are more associated with scout troops and special forces to a degree. So it makes sense, but also they had full ghillie suits in previous games. And let me put it like this. There's a reason in the games where the Recons had full ghillie suits. You couldn't lay prone on the ground. You could just crouch.
But then you crouch inside of a bush.
They still did that.
Yeah, of course.
They shouldn't do that because it was because basically this was Bad Company 1 2, so you mainly played rush. So you didn't actually want to camp back, you wanted to actually attack, especially with the Recon. But still, yeah.
But Recon players are kind of famous for not participating well in the game.
Yeah, as you see, how a lot of more modern camouflage is just like less the opulent ghillie suits, like some other countries have, and more like just have it on the shoulders and the head. And even then they use the face net here because
Face net looks cool.
yeah, face nets have drip, right? Like, I hate to say this because, like, I do like the designs of Recons in Battlefield 3 and 4 because they just like the simple, it's just a very simple cover your mouth affair. But the net over the face is cool. It's just kind of cool. Yeah. Otherwise, oh wait, there you are. Don't do that. No, stop killing me. Illegal. I think we need to have a new decree of that the fact that I don't think people should be allowed to kill me. Also, you know what?
Being a streamer is kind of the job, you know?
What? Killing the streamer? That's... No, that's not nice.
But it serves entertainment purposes.
Okay, yes, it does. But also, you know what? Listen, I'm taking out your Brit gun. And it's empty. I find it very funny how in this game so in 2042, you could actually have drum mags on this one, on the Vector. And in this game, they just were like, nah, no drum mags, fuck you. So it literally is just you can kill one person really fast. God, see? What?
Maybe two, maybe.
Maybe.
But there were more.
There were a lot more.
It disperses lots of bullets over a certain vector.
Oh, suddenly you know how to apply the word vector. And every time I try to explain to you, you're like, nah, that's too complicated. But when it comes to gun, you're like,
I know conceptually what a vector is, okay?
Yes.
But if it comes to applying it to certain things, I just can't.
yeah, point, I guess. Yeah. Also, yeah, I know this is kind of your favorite gun. Thanks to Battlefield Hardline, actually. I know
before it's released.
Yeah, and I remember when it comes to guns, you always like the small fast shooting guns. And before it was the MP5K in Insurgency.
Yeah.
But then you played Hardline, and then you were like, and I was like, oh, is there a gun that's similar to that? And I'm like, well, try the Vector.
And big magazine, just hold down the fire button. The heaviest MG I could find.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised that, how's it called? When we played Back 4 Blood,
Yeah.
that you never made a build to use vectors, because they're in the game.
In the game.
But not your favorite thing?
It doesn't feel like a game where the weapon matters that much. Also, I didn't want to build builds focused around firearms much.
Yeah, that's more my thing.
You're building the weak point builds and stuff like that.
Sadly, nothing like the Vector exists in Darktide. Or does it? Is there a fast-firing gun in Darktide? That's the question.
So I like it specifically in those kind of player versus player games. So.
Yeah, because, like, you know, you just point at someone and they're dead. I think, ironically...
basically the buff to the variable of, like, if two people meet at the same time, who has the better chance of killing the other person?
You mean, treffen sich zwei Spieler, beide tot.
Yeah. So you have two options. Either you go with a shotgun and a slug.
Cool.
If you hit, you probably kill slightly faster than the Vector.
It's so funny how you're like, I mean, you're completely right, but it's always like, yeah, you know, the best choices are the Vector and the shotgun with a slug, and it's like, I know people hate those guns.
I'm a very hateable player in those games. I'm also the person that waits on highly traveled areas to pick people up. I'm the worst kind of person, and I'm either a camper if it's a small round, because it works then, or a semi-camper.
I mean, I'd say, depending on the game, like, if you ever would have picked one up where you actually had something like vehicles, you probably would have started playing more vehicles.
Probably. They're more high impact for the team. Like when we played Insurgency before they patched it to death.
Oh god, yeah.
I remember the more sunny map with the bridge in the beginning where it just ignored the first objective to get closer to the second. I think they did that on a lot of maps.
Oh, yeah,
so that they could just storm the next objective, like throwing some C4. Get it, and then the team goes immediately to objective 3, and I crawl through the river to kill the payload in the end.
I like how you did the C4 tactic, because that's like something I showed you from Call of Duty, and you're like,
true.
and you were like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because you were like, how can you cook grenades? Like, just use C4, and you're like, but you need to get close, but the explosion rate is bigger, and you can trigger it on yourself, and you were like, oh,
You notice I don't play many shooters.
Yeah, but I do. I can tell you the tricks. At least the stuff I played very actively back in the day. You can't really do that in this game, though, which is a bit... But... Right here. There we go. Die. No! I don't die. I should not die.
I thought. Huh? Oh, no. Oh, I thought they were.
No. No. Sadly, no.
No resurrection.
Launched on Bravo.
You should make a character account that's just called Jesus. Then no one resurrects Jesus.
That would mean, though, I need to, get a new game copy, get a new
Would it be worth it for like one joke just to basically film yourself dying and then, like Jesus did not resurrect that day?
I mean, I could also just change my Steam name, but that's a different point of view. I will not change my Steam name, yeah. Then again, some weirdo right-wing could be like, look at this girl changing her name to Jesus. That's not like, yeah, go, make controversy out of nothing. It's gonna be so sweet and juicy and dumb, and I'm just gonna love my ass off. Then again, it probably will get ugly very, very fast nowadays.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, isn't Battlefield like old history technically?
Yeah, technically they just kind
Why
of...
do they still use those kind of stop signs?
I mean...
There was a petition to have those yellow ones, right?
No. Stop signs are,
No, the complete international ones. There was a move to change them. Now they're like semi-uniform,
there was
but
a...
not completely in Europe.
Google, because I do think there is an international thing that standardized a bunch of road signs, and it was in Vienna. It was in Vienna, I know that.
Yeah, but it wasn't fully.
Be advised, Bravo is under attack.
Objective Alpha neutralized. Our forces control more objectives than the enemy.
Before we had this stops.
We've lost control of Bravo.
Pretty sure I read about it.
Interesting. I heard nothing about that. That's stuff I still learned, I mean, honestly, when it is, in terms of old history, I think the irony is that stop signs would probably be developed the same in every case, because I think the design of the stop sign is so intuitive in how it was made. Oh, old ones.
Yeah.
Why did they make them yellow?
Oh, because of higher visibility in snowy conditions, apparently.
But red is also visible.
Delta.
Red is also visible, and I would even argue it's more visible in snowy conditions, at least red, but the stop isn't. Because it's white on white.
Yeah, but also like the stop sign is the only sign that has this shape, so you don't even need. That's the cool thing. You don't even need to.
There was also this stops.
Yeah, but like again, the international one, is, especially in Germany, they said we're doing the octagon because.
Yeah, that's what more countries agreed upon. But if you do world history, maybe use different stop signs.
Honestly, yellow octagon.
Especially like if Germany was maybe destroyed or something. you know, or some other countries become more influential. Maybe adopt their old stop signs.
It would be a fun change, actually. I mean, I don't think they will do that right now, but
Of course not, but
Yeah.
just as an example.
yeah, I think the big point is more like no one knows when it actually really deviated, so...
Yeah, it's too abstract for that.
Well, I think the funniest bit is that that probably confuses everyone is the whole technically apparently 9/11 happened. But I'm just gonna be honest with you here. They are just the writing team are just cowards to recontextualize that line. That, you know, we all thought, you know, oh, it was basically our 9/11 with Osama bin Laden, and in reality it's more like, oh no, there was Osama bin Laden, but completely different role. Like, okay. Listen, if anyone would ever let me fix the quote-unquote timeline of the mainline Battlefield games, because this is probably the biggest contender of like, wait, so the war on terror happened. I'm like, no. The big quote-unquote retcon / rewrite is the war of Battlefield 2 happened in the 2000s. And Osama bin Laden was actually a general in the Middle East coalition. And they attacked the USA. So it was actually worse. That's how I would rewrite it. And probably everyone would lose their shit over it. But it's like, fuck it, it's alternate history. You can go wild with it. In general, I think if you want to make a shooter series, you should just probably copy the Ace Combat style. If you know what that is. I'd say if you want to make a modern shooter game nowadays, I think you should just generally follow the route of Ace Combat. Because Ace Combat, like the mainline series, is actually set in a world called Strange Real. And it's an alternate history. It's an alternate world with like its own continents and nations, etc.
Yeah.
But they're using our technology, which kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like, for example, when we look at fantasy,
Similar stuff develops.
I mean, it's still named the mix something. For example, when with fighters, just always the Eurofighter, because like it's just planes from our world. But it's an alternate world. It's a different world, and I think, yeah, I think that would just make sense to just be like, just reuse it, because like, listen, when we talk about fantasy, okay, and you if we talk fantasy and we look at, for example, Lord of the Rings, okay, like I think Lord of the Rings movies are a perfect example. Fantasy that actually gives a certain shit about believability will have kind of the same weaponry and same tactics and same armory as we had in medieval Europe.
At least it will follow physics to some degree.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you have Lamias or Nagas,
Yeah.
they would also use armor,
Just
but
Yeah.
probably more longer scale maybe or something.
probably, yeah. And
then,
I mean,
and then spear and shield probably.
I would say probably plate to a degree on the chest still, because plate armor is just that good.
Chest pauldrons, yeah, because
Yeah.
that's the thing that with which they would even have in your reach.
Yeah. But like, it's the whole.
But they would be very more vulnerable against arrows. Thus, at least scale mail or something.
Like, I mean, if we say, you know, something operates on similar physics as our world, swords would generally look from what we have with the Roman gladiators over, you know, a katana to a Kriegsmesser, because those just make sense. Because let's just say it. In terms of weaponry, we kind of perfected the sword. Like, we made swords for everything, and if you look into fantasy, it will kind of just end up being that.
At least similar. As I said, if you have like long-necked people,
Yeah.
they could favor polearms.
Yeah, sure.
Because
but,
they would have an incredibly deceptive reach.
yeah, but also
And a good polearm against unarmored opponents is good. But if you have halberd, for example,
yeah.
then that would also work to a degree against armored opponents, especially since as a snake person you would get more height and could use that as a lever together with your arm and your core to generate lots of force. Just the overhead swing alone of that thing would be immense and
Yeah.
effective against armor.
But the irony is, it wouldn't really look much more different than, a medieval glaive or halberd, actually.
No, they would
Basically the
use
same.
those.
Yeah.
Basically the same.
Yeah. And if we then go to... Okay, if we then keep going with that, weaponry would basically, a flintlock will probably look pretty much the same in a fantasy setting than it will be in our world.
Yeah.
Similar if
The
you...
difference is just the loadout, mostly. Like, for example, if you do that, and you just apply some basic physics to a snake body, they would overextend with that attack. So, the knight's best option is to deflect or dodge this overhand swing.
Yeah.
So, we expect the worst case scenario. What would be a good thing for said snake person? Probably a shield strapped to the arm that they do not need to hold themselves. So in the case that they miss, they can use it to block.
Yeah. Also, but I wanted to say, if we actually say, hey, something developed more into the modern age, guns would probably just start looking like, as stupid as it sounds, like the M4/AR-15 very easily, because, at some point, you will have wooden guns that are, more bolt action, because, the bolt action repeater is... I saw some people were like, oh, but in this reality they have lever action. Listen, the lever action went out of style for a reason. I'm very sorry to say that. I like lever actions.
I don't know much about guns. I would need to take research who and why invented the
lever action?
No, the repeater.
The repeater was Mauser, from what I know.
Yeah, but and then you could make some educated guesses of what would be slightly believable why it didn't come into fruition yet.
I know lever actions were invented before that, and
yeah, of course.
But the thing about the bolt action is just the simple fact of it is much more simple. The thing about a gun, and again, this is similar to sword design, because for example, if you build a sword, you can have a curved blade, you can have an inverted blade, or you can have just a straight blade, a straight edge. Sorry.
What about the flamberge thing?
Yeah, the flamberge is basically still kind of a curved blade. It just has a lot of smaller curves. But the thing is, that's the fanciest you will get with a sword. But the thing is, physically,
you can get fancier, but at that point, it's more an ceremonial sword.
Yeah. For example, the famous one from Japan to vanquish goes with the how's it called? The spikes on the side that point upwards.
This antler-like structure?
Antler-like structure, yeah. That one is definitely just for ritual purposes. The thing is, if you want to build a sword, there are certain criteria of how a sword functions. And let me put it like this. These swords will develop. Now, when we go into the modern age and say, okay, we have advanced really far that guns have developed, you will see similar developments, because the thing is, yes, the first guns will be front-loaded, then you will see some breech locks, obviously, because that makes sense. Like, you need to get the bullet to the back. Why don't you open it at the back? Again, depending on how good your craftsmanship is, because the problem is the moment you open it at the back, weak point. But then someone will be like,
And gas/power can.
exactly. And then someone will realize, hey, if you take this metal, if you take a relatively easy to bend metal like brass, you can make a casing with the black powder in it, put the bullet on top, and suddenly you have shelf-stable ammunition you can just put into that breech, and boom.
Then people
gun.
probably go like, dedicated casing to put a bullet in, like cylinders and stuff.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
And from there we get to, like literally modern ammunition.
Yeah, and the thing is, from that point on, you need to be like, okay, magazines. How do you do that? Again, there's for example the thing of the Martini Henri from the British that just were like, fuck magazines. It's literally just breech load open, bullet in, close, shoot. Perfectly fine. This was actually for military. That was very much how it works. Yeah. And they still used that during World War One, by the way. So the thing is, then you have the case of wanting to shoot more. So the most obvious thing, which shotguns still use to this day, obviously, is you can just put it under the barrel. Like, there's room beneath the barrel. That's how Winchester made, the famous repeating rifle. You just put them there, and you just need to have with the lever a mechanism to put them up. But like, the thing is with lever actions is they're complicated. They can jam easily because there's a lot of mechanical parts moving around, and like, I mean, if you're in a war situation and you're lying on the ground, suddenly that lever's in the way.
To turn the rifle.
Like, I know people always like, oh, you can just make guns look how they want. Guns follow physical rules. And the thing is, that's why when Mauser invented basically the bolt action, the bolt action was basically one solid piece of just a locking bolt that you could just rotate to the side, pull back, let the spring reload, put one bullet in the chamber, and you just pushed it back and locked it again. It is so simple because if you want to field strip that gun and clean it, you just remove the bolt. You realize why every military had bolt action rifles after that? That's the gun you want. And then later, obviously, militaries realized, hey, if we have guns with magazines and they, maybe reload on their own, this increases the power of the individual soldiers. That's how we got to the semi-automatic guns. There were a lot of variants, but ironically, I think semi-automatic just kind of got skipped because, the US used the M1 Garand in a lot of ways, and it was still a top loader, by the way, so no magazines yet in that regard. Basically, everyone just realized, hey, if we use the thing we have for submachine guns, so like big magazine firing, but with bigger rounds, like, there's a reason assault rifles are a thing nowadays, because this idea of the intermediate cartridge between a pistol round and an MG round that has decent range, decent stopping power, and is not too heavy. That is just appealing. So if you have a fantasy setting, you will gravitate towards that. And the more further advanced it goes, the more you will see how they will stop using wood on guns and use plastics, because once again, you want to decrease weight, so you will see more plastic on guns. And then, obviously, the most obvious thing that will happen is people will realize that iron sights suck. Like, iron sights are good, don't get me wrong, they were on guns for a reason, but like, the Pichinatti rail is just the most obvious thing to put on a gun, because suddenly you can just exchange.
Oh, it's called Pinchinatti.
Pichinatti rail, I think, is it
I thought
called?
it was Pinchinatti.
Really?
I heard you pronounce it that way before.
Hey, I never actually really checked, so...
It could be both or neither.
And by the way,
The wobbles on the gun to put on things you can see through.
yeah, and I think one of the most interesting things is that you can see on guns here, most guns gravitate to the whole AR style because having the magazine and, especially the grip behind the firing mechanism makes a gun more stable because you can have all this buffer zone back here. So, you have a more stable gun and you hold it. Meanwhile, the whole thing of a bullpup is, they save you room. And there will be bullpups in a fantasy setting, no question. There was like a whole period where people wanted to build bullpups, but like, as you can see, there's not really a lot of room for recoil management back here. So they need to have slower fire rates.
And that's where
Same
they have the
here.
second grip.
Yes. And also, the bullet ejection is on the right side, meaning these guns can only be used right-handed. Meanwhile, if you look at the good old G3, the bullet ejection is still on the right side, but it's far away from your face. So you can, if you're left-handed, you could still use this gun, even though they are left-handed versions. There are some guns who are like very fancy where the bullet casings come out on the front. So like, yeah. But as you can see, there's a rail up here because it turns out, yes, iron sights on guns can be used, but those are really, like, sights are really important. Fun fact, actually, I think I should have the most well-known one, actually, because this will also develop in some shape or form, again, because of just simple physics. The ACOG sight is something a lot of people do not think about, because if you aim with an iron sight, you have to close one eye. Okay?
Yeah.
With an ACOG sight, you actually don't need to close one of your eyes. You can just look through.
Saves you time.
It saves time, but also crucially, the magnification on this one is, it's not a long range magnification, it's a relatively short range magnification. But this scope was so good that it literally triggered an investigation during the first Gulf War. Because basically in battle reports it was found that a lot of combatants on the Iraq side just died from headshots, or like, so to the point where, like, okay, did they do executions? And turns out, no, this side just increased the range at where people could just see very, very clearly and make accurate shots, to the point that
If you didn't have it,
yeah, they used the same guns, just the sight made them just outranged. So like, this is why sight and sight swapping is just a normal thing nowadays in militaries. Again,
so in other words, a technological leap that increased effective range.
yeah, and I think this is probably one of those reasons why I hate how so many sci-fi games still make like blocky plastic bullshit of guns, because like, listen, I like Warhammer 40k.
I mean, if you need to transport them, you rather want them to be stackable.
Yeah. I mean, I think bolters, they're like bulky on purpose, but like, I think Darktide actually has managed to have a lot of more reasonable guns.
Boulders aren't primarily designed for humans in the first place.
And they still use them.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes they try. They use a bolt pistol. And I'm still like confused how they can even use a bolt pistol with one hand.
Yeah, it's interesting, but
Maybe like a really, really small
actually,
caliber.
it's not really that hard. See,
Technically, yeah, because a bolt is just a rocket.
technically, yeah.
Yeah, you just need enough booms to get the rocket out, and then it ignites, and it makes.
Yeah, there's also an interesting thing to point out, because like, so one of the big things about high caliber guns is, see, because DMRs, like LMGs, DMRs basically use a similar, they use a bigger caliber than most assault rifles. But because they're single fire, they are much more manageable. Similar with some, very large caliber pistols, which are more like you would probably not fire from single-handedly. Okay, let me put it like this.
To be fair, they also have like science fantasy future stabilizers. Warhammer 40k is more fantasy than sci-fi.
That's fair. Like I'm giving it a pass. I think the funniest bit is that they put the optic rails on bolter as in Dark Tide, and it pisses some people off, and I'm like, listen,
The
I get
Space
it.
Marines don't need it, I know.
No. Here's the thing. You know that this is still logical. Like, okay, here's the thing. I do think they should have sat down maybe with a designer to basically, and I mean like a mechanical designer to design an optics system that, or attachment system that isn't looking like ours, but still does the function. But like, I'm sorry, I know this is ancient technology and all that, but like, optic attachment rails would still be used in the far future of the 41st millennium.
If it was ancient tech, yes. If the more current Imperium would do it, no. Because
Okay, they would probably do it the moment a tech priest finds it and was like, well, you should slap those on guns. And I was like, whoa, that's easy to manufacture, and we can slap it on every gun.
if it makes enough difference, like the average guardsman doesn't live that long.
Yeah, they probably just don't care about that.
You just like the difference between one guardsman with optic and just 2 additional guardsmen. I mean, like,
Yeah.
especially against what they're up against.
Fun fact, by the way, I know I always shit a bunch on like sci-fi guns for being like, they always make them, big plastic. This is a fake one. They thought this one up, and you know what? This one is still believable. Like there are, I think there's one or two guns out there that are similar looking. Like this isn't actually, because it's a demon eye, you can actually make it bullpup because it's single fire. You don't need to care that much about recoil. But this has every single thing you need on a gun to make it sensible, and it's not just a fucking block of plastic. But this is what I want to say. Even if you say fantasy, and you say it's fantasy in modern setting, I just kind of need to point out, I know not everyone thinks about that, but it follows the same rules as the god-awful Dedra swords in Skyrim. It wouldn't work. Like, putting teeth and spikes on a sword would make it non-functional, even in a fantasy
It would
setting.
make it a saw.
Yeah.
You could kill people with a saw, but it's not as effective.
Yeah. Equally, making guns that are just big plastic blocks with basically nothing just makes them shitty guns in sci-fi and fantasy as well.
Just give the Dedra swords like teeth on the back of the blade to make it more like a blade catcher.
Yeah. Like, why are the Dedra swords are single-edged anyway? They can have a curved edge and spikes on the back. Again, this would make it great sword catchers.
Or introduce law that the Dedra just like people suffering, and that's why they fight with ineffective weaponry. Like something.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm pedantic to a degree, but like, here's the thing. I like engineering, and like, swords and guns are engineering. Tanks are engineering. A lot of stuff is engineering. Is the year so abysmal already? Hey, Connor, I mean, we have an invasion in Venezuela, and, yeah. But yeah, it's just like, if you design weaponry or if you design just general mechanisms in a fantasy setting, you are still doing, to a degree, engineering design. And I kind of hate how people are like, I just like how it looks. And you know what? Fuck you. You do not get to decide that swords just suddenly ignore the laws of physics just because you think it's cool and you never swung a sword. Or, this gun just looks cool. No, fucking, plastic blocks look like ass. And they handle like ass. And just like fire a fucking gun for once and realize, wow, that would be ass if it was a plastic block. It should not be, sadly. It sucks very much that they do that right now. And you know what? It's actually highly unpopular. Like, I think in a lot of polls, over 80% of the population are like, no invasion in Venezuela. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was good, yeah, and like, I mean, the thing is just, if you don't want to, if you don't make swords or something out of like a completely different material, like, for example, lightsabers, they just make sense that they're just like straight lines, because fuck it, they can cut nearly everything anyway. They're just plasma blades, basically. It's just, if you have a sword, it will function like a sword. If you have guns that work with black powder, I'm sorry, you will not escape the physics of a gun. Them or the Force can solve a lot of crap. You know what? I hate the fact that, you know what I hate about this the most? That this is not even something the books ever try, or, the stories or games. It's always like, oh, but maybe it's magic. First off, if it is, it would need to be in the book. The whole "it's magic" is just a very lazy excuse to not think about the fact that someone didn't give a shit.
It's like, oh, we introduced magic, so everything that doesn't make sense in our world, some readers can now excuse with magic, and we don't need to explain it.
Yeah, that's probably...
But you have to get, like, certain... Like, especially if you want more quote-unquote exotic fantasy races in your book, you need to ignore some parts of physics. But other than that...
I mean, also it just makes everything more real. Like, let's just be real here. We rewatched Lord of the Rings over Christmas.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie show. But the thing is, all of the props in Lord of the Rings are feasible. Those are swords. That's armor. That's like sensible armor and so like even the Uruks and the Urukai armor have like a very rudimentary, Legion signage on their helmet system. The armor is rough, which distinguishes them, but it's armor. It's like stained. It's stained black armor that is like.
Oiled.
Actually, no. Armor was stained back in the day black because that actually made it rust resistant.
Yeah,
so
with oil.
Yeah, with oils and some other stuff was used as well.
I don't remember.
But basically, yeah, they were stained. So like,
it's easier to maintain. Yeah.
And even their swords are just like, it's a straight single edge because they just cast it then through, but like straight single edge with a hook on the end. That's a solid sword.
I mean, Lord of the Rings, technically the orcs aren't evil. Technically speaking, the orcs aren't evil.
Technically,
they're just a generation of trauma.
I mean, let's just be real here. To a degree, there are a stand-in because, like, the thing is that a lot of the Rings was mainly about industrialization destroying the world and also the greed of people fueling that industrialization. This is why orcs are not, a quote-unquote race. They are quite literally, how's it called?
Mutilated elves?
Yeah, they're fallen elves. Like, the elves are living in harmony with the world and, create the most beautiful things, and the orcs are just destructive. They're like the inverse.
Mellicons are they're the evil.
Yeah, it's like, but you know what? I'm just going to point out, someone who's basically controlling people with a very shitty. I'm just gonna point out, like Sauron nowadays, it's like Sauron is like, there are Saurons out there. Let's just be real here. I think nowadays Sauron feels more real than ever, and the whole idea of people just, again, the whole destructive force just to control everything. It's like, it feels very real nowadays.
I think the most unrealistic part in Lord of the Rings that's still in my memory is the Osgiliath fight, where a plate armor gets pierced by an arrow.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen. But okay, so you know what the most unrealistic fight thing is in it? Legolas killing the Oliphant.
No, he has Legolas armor.
It's Legolas armor.
It's Legolas armor.
Wait, you know what I find very interesting about that? Like, Lord of the Rings is, especially movies, are very, very grounded in their fights, and that actually gives them tension because, like, that's shit that could happen.
Except Legolas.
Except that one part with Legolas and, like...
Not one part. Legolas has some...
I mean, he also surfs down this... Okay, surfing on the stairs on a shield is not that... He did, I think. I think he did. But even then, it's one of those... but also, like, let's just be real here. He kind of just does the old, like... I mean, the best he does, that is really is. He doesn't really do absurd things in the first movie. The second one is he surfs down the stairs on a shield, which is just...
He also just takes an arrow and rams someone through its face, through the Urkrai's face, and then shoots with it. Not quite sure. Like, you know how much force an arrow gets through a bow? You're basically saying Legolas has super strength. So technically, then he could have saved Gandalf, and then we wouldn't have Gandalf the White, and then the whole movie wouldn't, the plot wouldn't work.
But I mean, honestly, the Oliphant scene is more like it's kind of a joke scene because, like,
okay, from what I've seen, there are more movie things. But he does other feats there. But then again, to be fair, in the movies, the Rohirrim guy, not the king, yeah, also kills an elephant. Technically, he disables 3 of them because he one-shots the rider with a javelin, basically.
That's fair. He actually has more takedowns than Legolas in that regard. It's an elf. I mean, again, the to a degree, it's just Legolas, but also, as I said, the elves are, the whole living in perfect harmony with nature. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
And the orcs destroy it. So, hey, it's kind of funny how shockingly not subtle Lord of the Rings is, and you know what? I wish I could say it aged badly, but like it kind of aged just way too good to a degree.
The movie, yeah.
I mean, I'd say even the novel.
Oh, the novel can't age badly unless we invent a better language system.
Yeah, I mean, like the themes are just very topical still, in my opinion.
For what it wants to do, yeah.
Yeah, I think especially nowadays, since tech bros just destroy the environment for their own gain, and we have a rise of fascism against. Just like you look at Lord of the Rings and you're like, yeah, you really do not get old in that regard. I mean, yeah, but they're great environment descriptions. Let's just be real here.
I mean, yes, you need to like the style of the book to like the book to a degree. That I think that's kind of a requirement
It's-
for every book.
I would still say though it should be something you should read, because I think there's always like a lot of talk about, was Tolkien a good writer or not. Like, hey, even he acknowledged that he should have wrote the orcs less racist.
Or less interpretable as
As
racist
racist,
allegory. Yeah.
Like, he himself knew. So like it's always weird when people are like, is Tolkien bad? And the answer is like,
I would say we need to get all these these isekai writers
oh god,
and
yeah.
force them to read Tolkien, because if they at least could describe their environment in more than 3 different words, that would already level it up.
God, yeah. I mean, hey, but also a lot of them should maybe learn that slavery isn't something you should be like, oh yeah, it's just a thing the protagonist does, but he's nice, so it's fine. I'm like, I'll burn you all
It would
down.
work if it's like, I don't know, 18th century slaveholder reincarnates something somewhere, but who would read that?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say in general, books are best read in their original style. Like, the thing is, the original language is what the author intended. And so, like, I just do think, like,
Translation always loses something.
I think German books are best in German, and English books are best in English. And Harry Potter is best enjoyed in nothing, because, good lord, like reading how the elves want to be enslaved that just sucks in every language.
That's why I like, if I consume like different media, like films and stuff, I also always try to get to the original language, at least in audio.
Yeah, that's always a big thing.
Like, I know voice actors are get fucked over. They need all the jobs they can get. I know. But maybe, just maybe, I don't want to hear the same 20 voices voicing all the same characters all the time. We already have a whole slew of voice actors in their original language. Okay?
I stick to German English. Yeah, fair. I mean, it's just also who translated it and how, because that's always a bit tough to figure out, basically, I would say.
Yeah, most of the time, if it's like in Japanese or in Mandarin or something, I probably go with English, because it's more rare to find someone who can properly translate those languages to German.
Yeah.
And you mostly get a translation from the original language to English to German.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same with anime fan subs. Like, a lot of the people that know Japanese translate it directly from Japanese to English. That's fair, but
Yes, some work better than others. That's true.
yeah. Then again, nearly no one is translating German works into English, so we have it all for ourselves. Haha. And then we can be snobby about reading Krabat.
Is that even a German thing?
Yeah.
I thought it was like...
No, Krabat is kind of to a degree something from East Europe, the saga, but the book is German. The book is very German, actually.
Easy? Yeah.
Yeah, Goethe is, like, people know Faust, but basically only know Faust and not the rest.
No.
And some people know Kafka, but also, like, let's just be real here, Kafka's best read German. How else can you just appreciate the amount of depression running through it and, like... Okay, you know what? Before we end the stream, because we went into a pretty big book discussion right now. Could have E saved Kafka?
I go with yes.
Probably. There's just a very much of, you probably have dysphoria. Like, there were let me just put it like this. There are a lot of passages in Kafka's book about hating your own body, and it's like, listen, I know the normies are more like, oh, you know, this is just an expression of self-hate and how, you know, the society others you, and I, you know, let me just put it like this. Yes, there is an interesting thing reading the process, or the trial, I think it's called English, about where people are like, oh, it's about the, you know, absurdity of fascist regimes and how they just track people. Also, like, listen, if you're trans and you just read how he just suddenly is on trial and is just on trial for being himself, and the trial is kind of just about himself, and he also just starts a relationship with the assistant of the lawyer, and just is very much looking over, you know, is just very much in love with her body and just also hates himself, and you're just like, and then there's just a big blank and then he dies in a quarry. It's like, oh, really? Do you really think this is something about societal critique, or just like, I mean, I know it's not as obvious as, you know, the whole I turned into a cockroach and my family hates me and I scurried out of the window one day, but holy shit, that was relatable.
The interpretation holds up. You can. Probably not intentional.
But you know what the weird part about this is, and I'd say it's, we can say about we can talk about intentionality or not, because the problem is Kafka is dead.
Yeah.
The problem is just like we can never talk about that about any artist or, you know, writer when they're dead. The thing is just, there's another piece of fiction that is very, very popular about basically rebelling, or, you know, being hunted down by a system to and try to be forced into conformity. Mm-hmm. And people keep saying this is some grand social, you know, grand social critique about how systems work, etc. But in reality, it's just, it's the Matrix. And sorry, this is about transitioning. Like, I'm very sorry.
In this case, the authors are alive, I think.
Yeah, and trans. Yeah. Both of them, actually. And it's like, I know people are like, should we debate about that? But also, like, when they transitioned, you know, estrogen was sold in red pills. And also, let's just be real here, Neo chooses a name for themselves, wants to be called Neo, and has a fucking fight in a subway station with an agent of the system that constantly that names Neo. Like, the whole Agent Smith. There was an Agent Smith was Man in Black. Agent,
I don't know.
Fuck it. The agent of the system that names Neo all the time, and then the climax is Neo awakes the powers by saying, "My name is Neo." So, you know, accepting who they really are. It's like, I'm sorry, that's a trans allegory. And when I put those words side by side, I'm like,
there's a surprising amount of overlap.
There's a surprising amount of overlap there, and one we know is trans story. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would at least argue it's a more than valid interpretation.
It's a very, it could, yeah. Then again, this should probably rather more, we joke about this right now, but also, like, keep in mind, it's for sure about identity, and interpreting it that way makes sense. Yeah, like, I mean, also a lot of trans people, especially if you lived during that time in Europe, probably don't have the language for it. I mean, let's just put it like this. A lot of trans people just write about self-hate. Before they probably realize, oh, wait, I could have just fixed myself. And, you know, if they even can fix themselves. So.
Yeah, you need to wait till Magnus Hirschfeld drops.
Yeah. actually already happened a bit before that in some cases, but still. On the other hand, I just want to point out someone actually pointed out an interesting thing. You know, there's currently this gacha game Uma Musume about where all horses are just girls.
Yeah.
So they pointed out that before synthetically created, estrogen was won from the urine of pregnant mares.
Yeah, I know.
So how did that work in the Uma Musume universe?
Huh?
Did they get estrogen from horse girls?
I mean, probably.
Probably. Questions you have to ask in some point.
And then you have to ask the question about bodily autonomy at that.
Yeah, it actually makes it. Is it donate? Is it a thing you donate? Did the Uma Musumes donate estrogen urine?
See, that's the question all history stuff and fantasy bring up.
If you have horse girls, where did the estrogen come from? Who supplied the estrogen?
It's the cows, obviously.
Yes. And, you know, obviously, if you have vampires, where does the blood come from?
Oh, from the next blood source.
I know. Don't lick this, please. It's still very sensitive. Yeah, you know what? We went a bit over time here. Tomorrow, hopefully, finally Neo 2. Hopefully my finger is healed. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We will probably see each other in this game on Tuesday again.
Actually, it's just your camera finger.
It should be fine tomorrow.
If you use this part of your thumb to press or lock on.
Yeah, I tried that, but it was still very So, hopefully, walking through the snow. It snowed. I said that before, but like, there's so much snow out there. And I want to walk with you through the snow.
Let's do that.
Yes, and then I don't know. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and see you all around. Maybe one of you later. I don't, considering you showed up here. We'll see. It's quite icy, yeah, but we still gotta take that walk. Yay. Okay. Will do. I catch her. Don't worry. I did that once. But yeah. Maybe we can talk in a bit. We just do that walk really quickly. Well, not quickly. Safely.
Yeah.
So yeah. See you all around. Bye.
Bye.